turning and turning. In the widening jar, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. This is borrowed from W.B. Yeats's famous poem, The Second Coming. There are two word pictures, that is, images, involved in these two lines. The first image is about a bird, turning and turning. What is turning? A bird, that is falcon. Falcon is flying over it and giving rounds and round and gaining space. Just shut your eyes and visualize it. The second image is that of the falconer, the trainer of the bird. He is looking at the skill with which the bird is giving flight, with admiration and amazement. And the bird is going away, and it is making its band bigger and bigger. The more the bird goes away, the more the trainer losing his control over the bird. And there is a time things fall apart. Hello guys, this is session number 29 of Basic English course of our Language Mantra channel. Today we are discussing the past continuous tense. So turning and turning in the widening jar is constructed in terms of present continuous tense, and we are discussing past continuous tense. If you understand present continuous tense, there is nothing to understand past continuous tense. It is as simple as a cup of tea. There is only one difference. That difference is of the use of the auxiliary verb. Let's say in the example, the falcon is turning and turning. The falcon is turning and turning is auxiliary verb, and it is coming from to be verb. When it is constructed in terms of past continuous tense, it becomes the falcon was turning and turning. The falcon was turning and turning. Just the past tense format of is or to be verb here. So that's all. This is the difference. In the present tense it is, and in the past tense, past continuous tense, it is was. That will make the difference. Now see the formation. Again, formation is almost the same. The difference is again the verb, that is auxiliary verb. So first, subject. The falcon is the subject here. Falcon was auxiliary verb. Turning, turn plus ing. Turning and turning, then give whatever you like. So turning, turn plus ing, this ing form is present participle form. It gives a sense of some continuity of an action. And this gives a sense of past time. This is all about the formation of a sentence structure in accordance with past continuous tense. Now let's see the basic conditions that are used, or basic conditions that are necessary to form a past continuous tense. In common with other continuous forms, past continuous to gives accent on the continuity of a state or action. In this case, the action begins and continues for some time in the past. Now, that some action continues for some time in the past is the major concern of past continuous tense. You forget everything. Even there is no question of specific or specified time reference or period of time reference, nothing is required. For example, it was raining. A simple example of past continuous tense. It was raining does not give you a specific time reference. It gives of a specific idea of an action in progress. So this is all about past continuous tense. This is so easy, so simple. Now let's see some more examples and more discussions on these issues. There are some points here. Basic point is some continuation of an action or a repeated action in the past time. This is exactly what we are discussing in different forms. Number one, his head was reeling. Reeling is a condition. His head was reeling means he was not well, maybe something was wrong, he was feeling giddy and all that. So his head was reeling. This is past continuous tense. In the past time, some action was in progress. That is, head was reeling. Number B, he was staggering on the platform. A person may be staggering on the platform. He is not confident enough. Maybe his gait, his movement is not very smooth. In that case, this process is going on for some time in the past, or this process was going on sometime in the past. This again comes within the structure of past continuous tense. Now see the difference between these two sentences. These two sentences are separate and independent sentences. You can just add a conjunction and make it one sentence. Number one, his head was reeling and he was staggering on the platform. This is fine, there is no problem. But we are not speaking of that. His head was reeling, the action is in continuation, is very smooth without any break. Whereas he was staggering on the platform, maybe there are certain breaks. So this is like first one. His head was reeling is like a stream or a flow of water, unbroken. Whereas staggering on the platform is broken, something like the second hand of a clock. It moves, then stops, then moves, then stops, then moves. This process goes on. So staggering is something like that. But if staggering in the past time becomes a regularity, then there is no problem. It becomes an example of past continuous tense. Now come to C. We were shouting for some help from the passengers. We were shouting. Maybe it's a process. For some time we shouted maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 many times. Then it is past continuous tense. If you shout for just once, then it is not past continuous tense. It is just past indefinite tense. So we were shouting for some help from the passengers around. There were many passengers and we were shouting for some help. Come to the next point. 2. Two incidents taking place together in past time. One is continuing and the other is in the simple past tense. This is possible. Two continuous tenses are possible, we have already seen. But it is also possible. One is past continuous tense and the other is simple past tense. So, my dad was dancing madly when I saw him there. My dad was dancing madly when I saw him there. Dancing madly, this is a longer process. So this is continuous tense. Whereas shorter process is when I saw him there. My seeing, that part is smaller part. B. Rick fell asleep. Rick fell asleep while he was reading a novel. He was reading a novel. All of a sudden, he fell asleep. Which one is a longer process? Rick was reading a novel. That is longer process. And Rick fell asleep while he was reading a novel. You can bring while he was reading a novel before and Rick fell asleep later. There is no problem. But point is that whenever in such sentences you get the word while, it refers to a period of time, and normally while is followed by past continuous tense. Just keep this in your mind. Whenever you find while, just take care and see whether it will be past continuous tense or not. Think before writing anything. Now see, it started to rain heavily. Just we were thinking of leaving the cafe. We were chatting in the cafe. We were having good chat for a longer period. And when we were thinking of leaving, just then it started to rain. So these are the two important areas where we can use past continuous tense. Now see some differences also. We have time. Now compare and contrast, if you call this. He was telephoning at about 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock is a time reference, but not specified time reference. Neither it's a period of time. So he was telephoning at 11 o'clock. Telephoning, he was telephoning. Therefore it is past continuous tense, no problem. Now, what was he doing at about 11 o'clock? This is a question in past continuous tense. He was telephoning. What was he doing? What was he doing at about 11 o'clock? Answer we know, he was telephoning. Then what did he do at about 2 o'clock? What did he do at about 11 o'clock? This is not continuous tense. What did he do? This is simple past. So what did he do at about 11 o'clock? He was not telephoning at about 11 o'clock. Then negative. He was not telephoning at about 11 o'clock. So we have a question here, we have negative here, we have simple past tense here. So you just make some comparison, contrast and compare. Then it will be much more easy for you to understand things. Now there are certain areas, maybe special areas you can call it. For example, there are certain verbs that are non-continuous verb, static verb, etc. You normally should not use past continuous tense or present continuous tense as well. For example, I was hating him. Normally you won't come across this kind of sentence. Or I was understanding him. This is not possible. Then we have another example, wondering. I was wondering. Wonder means some sort of amazement, admiration, etc., etc. But here, when I say I was wondering, I just put a simple request or some suggestions. Let's see an example. I was wondering if you could take care of my baby for an hour, maybe just for an hour, if you could just have a look of my baby, it would have been nice. Just a request. Just look after my baby. So this is wondering. But more interesting, example is this: going to. When you say going to in the present tense, it becomes a decision. So, for example, you say, I'm going to purchase a computer. So it's a decision. There is no problem. I am going to purchase a computer. But if I put it in the past tense, you change your mind. Your decision is changed, because the next part of the sentence that will come obviously will undo the first part. For example, I was going to spend my weekend with my dad. I was going to spend my weekend with my dad. This is a decision. Now what happens? But decided to finish my assignment. But instead of that, I decided to finish my assignment. So what happens? My first decision is undone by another decision. So whenever you use I was going to do something, to do means I was going to school, there is no problem. But I was going to do something, there would be an infinitive form of verb. In that case, I was going to do something, take care of that. The next part will invariably undo the first part. So this is all that we have today, and our discussions on past continuous tense. I think it is fruitfully have understood the basic ideas behind this tense. If there is any question, we are there for you. Please write back to us, And as usual, the same request again and again: subscribe, like, dislike, comment, do this or that, whatever you like. So this much today. Thank you very much.